What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Today we have our third installment with Red's Rhetoric, and if you want to know what we're covering today, here's a look. NASA admits we never went to the moon!
Well, okay, so first off, I just want to say thank you and go fuck yourself for sending me this link, because I had to watch this deplorable nonsense when I was trying to beat off to something.
Yes, we're going to be talking about NASA supposedly admitting that they lied or whatever. Red's going to go over that, along with the quote-unquote evidence that the guys showed. So, if you're interested in this, then please stay tuned. For the second part of this comment, talking about how it doesn't matter whether the Earth is flat or not, he just hopes that Kim Jong-un or Il or whatever doesn't shove a rocket up his ass. I mean, to me, like, it really does matter, like, whether or not, like, the Earth is round, because that's, like, okay, like, if the Earth was flat, we would experience things in totally different ways than we actually do. So to suggest that it's flat rather than a globe is, I mean, it really is a mind fuck when you think about it. So I don't know, how important is it to you about whether the Earth is flat or round?
Well, actually, when it comes to the Earth being flat or round, the reason why I consider it important is because I understand this is hard to believe, but I actually care whether or not people know the truth. I actually care whether or not people have a basic understanding of how this shit works. I actually care if people are donating their money to fucking dipshits that are just in it for the money and they don't actually believe the shit that they're saying. It's snake oil salesman. Oh, if you send me money, I'll say a prayer and I'll heal you type of bullshit. Come on, guys.
Well, yeah, and like we wouldn't have like our communications the way that they are, how we can call like the other side of the fucking planet if we really wanted to. I mean, we can do all of these things because of the fact that it is a globe Earth. And I mean, it would literally change the face of science if the globe Earth wasn't a thing. And, you know, you're right about the whole true representation of reality. I mean, that should be paramount to anybody, because when you start going down the path of, you know, a false representation of reality, that's when you can get into trouble and like really hurt yourself or even kill yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing, which is why I've seen a few videos online where I have parents teaching their kids that the Earth is flat, and I consider that, you know, a form of child abuse. And yeah, I should say, fucking get those kids into a foster care that will actually teach them actual fucking science so that they don't grow up to be dipshits the rest of their lives. You are literally stripping potential away from people.
Well, and you're stripping potential, and it's also something that could seriously affect them in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so,
And that's why I say, to the people who actually believe this shit, not only should you guys research flat Earth and then eventually come to the conclusion that's bullshit, but you should also research the people that are pushing this shit to begin with. Check out their Patreon.
Well, yeah, and I mean, they use that exact thing to say that, you know, that's the reason why we're doing it, is that we're paid shills because of like Patreon or Google or whatever.
My videos are not monetized, and that's the funny thing. When I get told I'm a paid shill, I go, look, if you look at my Patreon is only charged under one condition. That's only for my rocket launch videos, and that's to pay for gas to get there and back, because I live on the west side of the state and I need to travel to the east side of the state and then back again.
No, yeah, no, there's totally reasonable reasons to have a Patreon and everything like that. But I totally believe that the Flat Earth group, I don't know if some of them are only doing it for money, but it's pretty obvious that they, like, one of the main goals for them is to become sustainable through their whole Flat Earth bullshittery, because like Jeranism was like, I'm a fourth of the way to the point where I can just do Flat Earth shit all the time. It's like, no, please don't. Don't make it so that he puts out more content.
Exactly. I would say that there are a few people that I'm not going to mention here because I don't want to give them any fucking credit, that are in it for just the money. I have proof of this. They are in it for just the money. They don't actually believe this nonsense, which is why you'll never see me speak about them on my channel. But yes, there are people out there that don't actually believe this, that are in it for just the money, and these people have no fucking shame. These people don't care who they hurt And to them, I say they can go ahead and suck a fat one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that anybody that pushes flat Earth bullshit just for the money is scum.
Exactly. What's next on the agenda of flat Earth fucktardery comments?
Flat Earthers equals Russian trolls assigned to create divisiveness among Americans on any topic as long as the argument creates a rift.
Wow. Okay. Flat earthers equal Russian trolls. I would think the Russians would be, the exact opposite, because they were the first people to put, something in orbit. They were the first person to put a fucking dog in space, first person to put a actual fucking person in space and stuff like that. So like Russians should be proud of their space program, because, when it came to the dick measuring contest between us and the Russians, you guys won. You guys won. So, take that on board. But if it is a government conspiracy, a Russian government conspiracy to use the stupidity of Americans against us, bravo. It's working.
Well, I would say that the Russian trolls are currently, they were working on the 2016 election, so they didn't really, flat Earth wasn't, one of the big things during the whole election deal. It's not like Donald Trump got up there and was like, the Earth is flat, she thinks it's a globe, fuck her!
Okay, what can we do to show that Americans are fucking retarded? I know, let's have them vote for Trump. Okay, so people have voted for Trump. What else is next? Oh, let's make them get rid of net neutrality. They're not seriously this dumb. Wow. Okay, they just got rid of net neutrality. Okay, okay, how bad can it really be? You know what? Fuck it. Let's just say that the Earth is flat online. Holy shit! And then the Russians are just face palming themselves.
NASA admits we never went to the moon.
Well, okay. So first off, I just want to say thank you and go fuck yourself for sending me this link, because I had to watch this deplorable nonsense when I was trying to beat off to something. Okay, so anyway, NASA admits we never went to the moon. This comes from a misunderstanding from a NASA engineer during a promotional video about the launch of the Orion spacecraft. The NASA engineer says that we're going to take the craft through this region of deadly radiation. We need to solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. The context of that is this. This is a brand new craft with brand new technology. Now, question, do you want shit fucking up when there are people on this damn thing that require the guidance systems and the computers to be functioning? No, you don't? Then you need to test it. You need to make sure that the technology, the futuristic technology that has not gone through this region of space before, can actually survive this region of space. When we went there during Apollo, we had analog technology. We literally had computers that had their code stitched in them. Stitched by seamstresses. Stitched. Analog technology is a lot more durable than the digital tech we have today. So testing is needed. You fuckfaces. So just because our current technology has never brought people to the moon, that doesn't mean that previous technology has never brought people to the moon.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people say that we've destroyed the technology or whatnot that got us there, or that the NASA has lost or destroyed the original Apollo tapes. Which, I mean, NASA did had to re-record over them because of their budget at the time. They had copies of it. They just didn't have the originals anymore. And also the Apollo mission technology. I mean, we can't just build that again and send astronauts to the moon again. I mean, we have to develop newer technologies, because we don't want to develop it once and then just use that all the fucking time. I mean, that would be ridiculous.
There's much better ways of going to the moon, and using 1960s tech is a way that works, but it's not a better way. Question, would you guys rather drive from Florida to California in a Ford Model T, or would you rather be in a nice air-conditioned Cadillac with magnetic ride suspension, leather seats, Bluetooth connectivity, and all the creature comforts of modern America? I don't know about you, but you can have fun in the fucking Model T.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Does that mean that the Model T is fake? Does that mean that the Model T didn't work? No, it worked and it was great for its time, but times have changed. We now have better technology and we're able to execute our jobs more efficiently but we need to test things out to make sure things work. That's why even though the Cadillac is newer, you still need to crash test the son of a bitch before you put people in the damn thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that it's really ridiculous that they conflate like the two different technologies and say just because we haven't been to the moon in our current one that the previous one didn't get us to the moon. And
It's
they
the
also like
same
to
flawed argument.
yeah. They like to use this same argument with the Van Allen radiation belt, saying that like, well, now we're saying that we can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. So how did we get past it before? And see, the problem is that before they went through the thinnest part of it, and plus they had like some kind of shielding like getting out there, and it's just that our current technology isn't made to withstand that. I don't think that we can't like make something now to where we can get past the Van Allen radiation belt, but also you have to take into consideration that it was the thinnest part of the radiation belt that they were going through back in the 60s.
The radiation levels that the Apollo astronauts were dealing with was around 11.4 MSVs during a 9-day period. 1 MSV of space radiation is approximately equivalent to receiving 3 chest x-rays. Now, I once broke my leg and I had to take a shit ton of x-rays because I literally had my knee rebuilt. If I didn't burst into flames, then what makes you think the Apollo astronauts would have?
Oh, wait, you're telling me that you didn't burst into flames randomly as you were getting x-rays?
I know it's incredible. It's almost as if flat earthers have completely overestimated just how dangerous this shit is. Don't get me wrong, it's dangerous as fuck, but we didn't exactly stay there. We flew through that motherfucker as quickly as possible. At the time that we were doing our lunar transfer orbit, at the time of us actually passing, we were going at least 17,000 miles per hour. We were hauling ass. Keep in mind, we got boosted by a Saturn V, motherfuckers, okay? This was the Corvette ZR1 of its day. So basically, the Van Allen belts didn't have enough time to do any lasting damage, which is why you can still see Buzz Aldrin today on Twitter.
But I've actually had flat earthers say that we can't go 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. I would like to see them go to a test stand firing of an RS-25 engine and stand next to that son of a bitch, and then tell me that if that thing was strapped to your ass, you couldn't be doing 17,500 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, they were actually saying it because of like the docking procedure of getting to the ISS. This is a while back, but I mean, it was basically like, you can't go 17,000 miles an hour. Does it look like it's going 17,000 miles an hour? It's like...
that is called parallax. As you get further away from the ground, you will appear to be moving slower over that ground because more ground is occupying your visual field of view. Next time you're looking out of a plane, for example, look at the ground. The ground seems to be moving very slowly relative to you. In fact, you can even focus on some landmarks very easily. Yet you are going 500 miles an hour. The plane travels about 5 miles up. So just imagine the parallax at play for an object, I don't fucking know, maybe 250 miles up, you dipshits.
And then, I mean, I remember you put up a video where you recorded the ISS moving in front of the moon. And I mean, like, you had to be quick to catch it. And so it's really ridiculous, the lengths that they'll go to dismiss actual evidence.
Exactly. I can film the International Space Station. I can measure its altitude. And from that information, if you go to Astronomy Live's channel, he actually measured the size of the International Space Station. And from that, you can also derive its speed. Everything checks out.
I like this comment. Godless engineer, even you are fake too.
Have you been lying to me this entire time? Are you CGI?
I am CGI, motherfucker.
You're literally like the head person of the fucking Matrix and shit with the glasses that can bend backwards to dodge bullets and fucking shrapnel and shit.
Well, you say that considering this past week I responded to that Morpheus looking fuck.
God. Well, here's the thing. If you are fake too and stuff like that, then listen, you must have some really good deals when it comes to the dark web. So if you can somehow, forward a shitload of Bitcoin into my account, that'd be great.
Well, considering what you said about CGI, like one frame of CGI rendering in 30 minutes by Pixar, I have to say I am loaded out of the ass with money to be able to render at 60 frames a second right now.
Basically, we need a stadium of computers. Why do we need a stadium of computers, sir? Because we're trying to convince people that the Earth is round. Do this right, and we could possibly avoid World War III. What? No, fuck you.
All right, this is a great one. God designed everything to be as perfect as it is. He is the master engineer of everything and antimatter. Praise God Yahweh the Most High!
I don't know about you, but what? Okay, in that case, question: were kidney stones part of his perfect design?
I can only guess so, because those are for people that are infested with demons, and they like to nest in your kidneys and turn into stones.
I see, and also, connecting two tubes together so that when I eat food, I could choke to death. That was part of his perfect design, or that's as perfect as he is, right?
Well, you remember that show Punk?
Yeah.
It's like that. Ashton Kutcher is God. He comes down and he punks people that chokes on their own food.
I see. And putting testicles in just the right spot that if they were to be kicked sufficiently hard enough, you would be doubled over in pain for like hours.
Well, okay, God did that for his fetish. He likes those videos where you see the girls kicking the guy in the nuts all the time.
I see. So basically, it's part of the song "Ode to the Nut Shot."
Yes.
I see where. Okay, yeah, good on you guys. So basically, if everything is as perfect as God is, then God really isn't that perfect. I mean, holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't know how this has to do with the flat Earth, but this was left on a flat Earth video of mine.
You know what? Fine, but you're just making God less impressive.
Yeah. But I like how he's the master engineer of everything matter and antimatter. And have we, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but have we proven that antimatter exists?
Yep, antimatter does exist. Okay. We actually can make it in particle accelerators, but there's a problem, is that it tends to get a little explodey when it comes in contact with normal matter. So, for example, if you had a quarter size amount of antimatter, I believe that's enough energy within that quarter made of antimatter to launch the space shuttle like 5 times.
Or maybe just once straight up, and it'll be it'll be just like in the sci-fi movies.
I mean, listen, antimatter is as close as you can get to an infinite amount of fuel. The only way that you can get anything more than that is if you somehow found a way to turn flat earther ignorance into rocket fuel.
That would definitely send us into space 5 times over.
The other side of the fucking universe.
But yeah, I remember. Yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit spotty on like things that I've researched in the past. But as far as antimatter goes, yeah, of course, we've proven it to exist, because I know that there's that one theory of the Big Bang where matter and antimatter collided and caused it to bang. That's one hypothesis.
There was a clusterfuck of matter and antimatter. You are exactly right.
Yeah, and I have to say that this speaks to the wide range that flat earthers have, like, on the bullshit. Because, like, in order for me or you to really debunk or discuss why they're wrong, we have to be masters, like, in almost every facet of science.
Well, there's also a very good thing that I do sometimes. It's called Google Foo. It is a skill that you have to travel to Japan to actually master. You have to ask for permission to get really good in the Google Foo. And you have to speak to, we call him the Big G. And the Big Elon. G, yes, the Big G, will go ahead and say, "Are you ready to learn the Google Foo?" And then you go, "Yes, master. Yes." And then he gives you a Kindle Fire and says, "Get the fuck out."
That's what happened to me too.